Okay, so today's session is on API primitives. Okay, and we have some services primitives or service and network, whatever you want to say. But what is the meaning of primitives? Means the start or the basic of something, right? So we are going to learn today is actually how to write a YAML file. Means if I want to create a deployment. In last session we have created a deployment but using a command line, right? We haven't used the YAML file. So today we are going to use YAML file, and we are going to apply that using kubectl, and it will make a API call. So when we run a kubectl apply or create -f or file name, what it did is actually kubectl just transform our YAML file into JSON, and then it send it to the API server. Okay, so just remember that whenever you you have created your file in YAML, but API server will read it as a JSON, and that transformation is done by what's called kubectl. Okay, so when we run that command, it will first change your or parse your YAML to JSON, and it will send the query whatever you have written in your YAML to the API server, right? So let's start with one YAML file. Okay, so check if you can see the font is right. I have increased the font. Are you guys able to see,
Yes, sir. I
or
think good now.
should I increase more?
No, it is okay, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It is okay, sir.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Oh, let's do it 1.7. Okay, that's it. I think it will be visible in recording as well. I think
Yeah.
because last it was very. So I will. I don't want to make it a full screen, because when we do it a full screen, we actually don't able to understand. So first, what I will do is run a kubectl command to check if there is something. So to check the ports, which ports are running on the system, I can use kubectl get ports. Okay, but it will show you whatever running under default namespace. Okay, so if I run kubectl get name spaces, you can see we have these four right now. So this is created by default, this one as well. Cube systems are the namespaces that is created, the pods that are running, the system pods, okay, or components. Those are under cube system namespace. So if I do kubectl get pods, and I just want pods that is running in this space, so I have to give -n and the name of the namespace. Okay, so it is -n. So it's like a grouping. Means we are, okay, I missed, it should be system, not systems. Okay, so here you can see these core DNS, etcd, Cube API server, Cube controller, Flannel. Okay, so Flannel is running. Actually, there are three parts of the Flannel. Okay, and I think it will be on the different nodes. Okay, so if I want to check like these pods are running on which on which node in your cluster. So what I will do, hyphen o wide. So hyphen o means output, and I want the output in wide screen. So here you can see kubeproxy. So this is running on 19.46. This proxy is running on .92. So three node, one is master, two is worker. So the total three proxy, because the proxy run on worker nodes. Okay. So you might ask a question like why it is running on the master as well, right? Because we have installed it. Okay. But this is useful when you are on the worker node. Okay, it is not on the master. But we have installed, like, if you see, we have installed the container runtime also on the master node, but that is not necessary. And here the cube scheduler, so only one cube scheduler is there, that is running on 1c means master. Okay, flannel is running on three nodes because connectivity. Okay, if you go through the for the pods connectivity, not for the uh,
Kar-
control component, control plane component.
Karbit, your screen is not
Yes,
visible.
screen is not visible.
Yes.
It is visible for me.
So Chris, are you able to see my screen, or you
Yeah,
also?
yeah, I can see the screen. Your
Okay,
name
so
is
Sir, I think you should rejoin.
Rita.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Sarabjit.
yes.
Yeah, till now what you have taught, let me just summarize a little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you hit the command kubectl get pods,
Mm-hmm.
it will list the pods under the default namespace, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and kubectl pod hyphen n, and then when we provide the namespace, it will provide pods under that namespace only, which we have mentioned.
Yes. Right.
Okay, and hyphen o wide means under that the pods where it is running, it will mention the on which
Yes.
node.
On which node it is running, it will also mention that one. Like here you can
Okay,
see. So this scheduler is so this is useful when and if you have multiple uh, masters. Okay,
master.
and here you can understand like on which master any control plane is control component is not running, or if any node worker node is not communicating properly. Okay, so
Okay,
you can check like kubeproxy is properly running or not, because if kubeproxy is not running properly, it means there is a when the pods want to communicate to each other or to the pod that is running on the different node. Okay, you are not able to do that because kubeproxy is responsible for that communication. Like if you want to communicate to a pod that is running on the different node. Okay, in that case those IP tables will be created on kubeproxy, and it is managed by kubeproxy. Okay, so it manages the traffic from your current pod on which you are uh, trying to connect to the next the second pod. Okay, so this pre-proxy has that network responsibility. Okay, to actually resolve the name. Okay, so it will go to the DNS and do the things. Actually, when I will show you the services and those parts, then you will understand. And I will actually I have a picture. I will show you how these communication and the IP addresses get changed from one to another when it go from one host to other host. Okay, so then you will clearly understand these Q proxy and qflannel. But just I want to correct myself where I said that qflannel is also used in the control plane component, but not when I read those documents that is on Kubernetes. So I then come to know like these Q flannel and the other plugins, that is used for pod networking. Means uh, when we have installed the control plane components, we are able to communicate to each other. But when you create a pod, okay, and you haven't apply any network network plugin like Flannel or Calcio, so in that case your pod will not communicate to each other. Okay, or if you have not applied that and you will run this command adm get nodes, I think kubectl. So here status will become not ready. Okay, if you have not installed that network plugins, okay, or plugin, or one, the main thing I missed. So it will show as a not ready, means you cannot deploy the new ports. Means you can deploy but it will not work. Got it?
Okay.
So Cesar, you also joined, means you are able to see my screen now.
Yes, Sarabjit, I can see your
Okay,
screen now.
so whenever this hyphen o byte is mostly used for to know on which node which pod is not running or responding not well, or unresponsive, any unresponsive pods or something. So here you can see running, stop, error. Okay, but if you don't know, like I don't know the namespace, right? So in
Yeah.
that case, what I will do kubectl get pods hyphen hyphen all name spaces. Okay. In this case, it will display all your pods that is running. So here you can see these are in the default. These are in cube system namespace. Okay, cube system, or you should, and there is no pods that is running in this cube public and cube node lease. Okay, there is no any pod. So if I do this kubectl get pods, and before that if I get namespaces, and now I want to see the pods that is running under queue public. So when we have, so there is no error from server, not found, pods namespace is not found. Oops, sorry. Actually, I have to remove this one. Queue public. So no resources found. Okay. So there is no resources that is under this namespace. Okay. So why we need this namespace? Actually, it likes a virtual grouping of your resources or objects. Okay, whatever the objects you want to create, you want to keep it in a virtual group, so that if you want to delete whatever inside that namespace, if you delete that namespace, it will delete all the objects inside that one. Okay, so if there is any deployment, uh, any object like network, it's related to volumes, whatever is inside that namespace, those will be deleted. So if we take the example of resource group in Azure, it is like a same, okay, namespace in Kubernetes. So kubectl get, we have other commands like deployment. So again, kubectl get deployments will only show you the default one. So this deployment is running under default namespace. Okay. So what we will do today is we'll first create a namespace. So you can link these things with the whatever we are going to do today. So I will do one thing. kubectl create name spaces, and you can create namespace in a YAML file as well. So here create namespaces. I want this one as what I will say, my namespace. Okay, we need to create it with the YAML file. So let's start with the, so to create a YAML file, I will use a VI editor. So let's see, I just written namespace. Okay. And now here, first thing what I have to put is API version. Okay. So this is the first API version, and it is like a key value pair. Okay. So app slash v1. So this API version is app slash v1. It is not related with your Kubernetes version. Okay, this is the API version. Okay, to which I means we are going to call make a API call. So what is the version of that API? So it is a v1. But for more detail, you have to visit the documents and refer your documents that is available on Kubernetes. But I have read and it is little bit confusing. Just remember that this app version is not related with the your Kubernetes version. This is actually a API version to which it is going to call. So there are multiple version of API as well. So now second one is kind. So what I want. So let's say I want to create a namespace. So the type will be kind will be namespace. Okay, and then metadata. So what are the details I want to say? So in namespace, actually there is not much. You have to just give the name of the namespace. Okay. So here, whenever something you want to write under this key, you have to give two spaces. So now I want to, whatever I am doing is under this metadata. So these key value pair is under metadata. So name, I want to keep it as my namespace. Okay. And after that, we have some specs for other kind, but here I think that's enough. And what I will do, I will apply or create kubectl create -f and then name of the YAML file. Okay, who matches for the kind namespace. So if you have any issue with the YAML file, you will get error on the screen. So if there is any space is missing, it will show you. So now you can see it's a v1, and now if I do list the namespaces, oops, that is not created. Oh, sorry, we got an error. No matches for kind namespaces. Somehow I forgot. Okay, let's try with kubectl -help. So we can create a resource of from a file or from stdn. So I was trying to do it from the stdn from the standard input, but that won't work. Means I am somehow doing a wrong command. Okay, so that I will show you later. But before that, let's start from the deployment. Okay, because I have done this deployment, so there should not be any issue. So I will just copy paste again. I can give any name. Just give me one. Okay, so am I audible still or any network issue?
No,
Okay,
you are audible.
so I can give any name like let's say Nginx deploy, and I will copy paste the whole YAML file, and then I will explain you what is there over here. So first is again the API version, that is apps. Oh. Okay. I think I got it. So no, I have written the apps. So here first one is API version, that is apps V1. Somewhere you will see V1 beta or something, so it depends upon you which version you are using. But mostly we use the stable one, and that is V1. And kind is now here, it is a deployment, and metadata is just a name, or you can give the label as well. But I will show you how to give the label if we have already created the deployment or pods. Okay, so how to give the name label to the pods, I will show you with the command. So I haven't given over here. So but yes, you can mention that over here as well, like after two spaces you can write label, and then whatever label you want to give to this deployment, actually that will go for this deployment, remember that one. Okay, and two things is main, one is metadata and second one is specs. So specs is the desired state of your kind, means the deployment. Okay, what we are doing is we are creating a object, deployment object. So what should be or desired state of this deployment, that is under this spec. Okay, so what I want, first one is selector, and selector will be used in the next YAML file that I will show you how to use. So it is saying selector will be applied as match labels, and it has app colon nginx. So this is very important. Like when we create a service, then we have to understand like for which deployment that service will apply, on which deployment. So that will be happen with this selector. So in service, what we will do, we will check that field selector, and we will mention if the deployment has selector like app colon nginx, then whatever uh, pods that is running on this deployment, should get this service. So that service will attach to that using this selector. Okay, so selector is very important. Then replica. So how many pods do you want for this deployment? Okay, so I want 2 pods to be running all time. Then template. So template is, here you can see metadata of template is app nginx. So template will give you using which template or which uh, image, okay, you want to run this pod. So again, template has metadata and specs. So metadata in metadata is labels or like app colon nginx that we have applied. And here the spec, this is the spec for this template. So this template has this one containers. So now under template, everything, every time under template we have this containers. Okay, so this pod will be running using this container. So this container will run inside this pod, and which image it is going to use means the container. So container name is nginx and image is 1.7.9. So it will create a container using this nginx image, and container name is nginx, and this container is running under this pod. So there is 2 replica of this deployment. So the 2 pods will be created, and both pods have one container inside it. Okay, and what is the container image? The container image is nginx 1.7, means that pod is a nginx pod. Okay, and here the ports are, container port is running on port 80. So when we create a service to expose this deployment, we are going to use this container port as a target port. Okay, so your port, when we mention the port in the service, it will be bind with this port 80. So here what we are going to do is using deployment, means whatever the pod, you can deploy the pods as a pod, means kind as a pod as well, but you cannot scale that pod. Okay, so deployment, using deployment we can scale and scale up, scale down our deployment. Like somehow I need more than 2 replicas, so I can scale the deployment, right? So whenever you create a simple using kubectl run, and the name of the image and the name of the after giving the image name, you get a like created a deployment. Okay, so it is not saying like it is created a container or pod. Actually in Kubernetes it is a deployment. So inside the deployment there are multiple pods, and those pods are similar. Okay, those pods are similar because those, the containers that are running are the same in all the pods. So main thing is, what is the difference between Docker Swarm and the Kubernetes is scaling. You can scale your application very easily. Okay, you have to just change the replica of your deployment. So any question? I think you might have some confusion, but if you have, you can ask right now, and then we will apply this YAML file. Should I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
That was right.
See the things like selector, match labels. These are something new for me.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. So yeah, those selector and match level, that I will show you the service, then you will understand. Okay, so just for that, just give me 1 minute, then you will
all
understand.
right.
Okay, so let's go ahead and apply this YAML file. So it should be, kubectl create hyphen f, and then oops, I forgot to, okay, let me rename it, but that is not an issue, but it's good to have a consistent thing. So I want to give it a name nginx dot yaml actually. Okay, so now just go ahead, kubectl create hyphen f for file, and then name of the file, and hit enter. Okay, so now you can see deployment created. So again, I haven't mentioned the namespace, so it will go to the default namespace. Okay, so if I do kubectl deploy, so this is the short form, and in Kubernetes there are multiple short forms. Like for service, you can just use SVC. Okay, deployment, you can just use deploy. So this is the new deployment that we have just created using YAML. So this one was created using the command line, but this is from the using YAML. So now I cannot access the this pod, whatever the pods are running inside this uh, Nginx deployment. I cannot access it. Right? Means I cannot access. I can access the pods, but I cannot access the service that is running from my host. So in Docker, what we have done is we have to expose using -p, right, and map the port, the host port to the container port, right. So here we are going to create a service, and then that service will expose this deployment. So we have one command like kubectl expose and then deployment. Which deployment you want to expose, it will expose, but we are going to use YAML file again, and we will mention everything in the YAML file. Okay, so if I here you can see ready 2 out of 2 means we have mentioned 2 replica, and 2 replica is running. So if I do kubectl get pods, you can see. So how you will understand for which deployment which pod is running. So actually the pods is, if you see over here, the name of the deployment, it will take the name of the deployment first and then some random number. So here you can see as well, this part is also same. This one is only difference. Okay,
Hmm.
so if I just scale up, this part will be same again, and this last string will change. Okay, so now actually those containers that is running inside these pods are on not on this master node, that will be on the worker. So to check the containers, I can run docker ps. So you can see there might permission denied. So anyone can help me why it is showing this permission denied? Remember what I have told in the Docker?
To add Docker user.
Yes, you have to add your current group, means in using which user you are running, you have to add that user to the Docker group.
Hmm.
Okay, so what is the command? Sudo
User add.
user mod
Command.
-a g docker. Okay, so What happened? It is not connecting. So, hmm. Okay, we will connect to the worker node and then let's see what happens. Let me connect to one of the worker node. Actually, when we do it to uh, apply this setting, actually I have to logged out and logged in again. Okay, so if I apply the same thing, I will just show you over here. So sudo again, let's run the command first. So docker ps hyphen a, let's change the settings. Okay, so again I'm getting the same error on the worker node. Okay, so I have to do sudo user mod hyphen ag docker cloud user. Okay, now I have to actually exit and then I have to log in again. So okay, so now it's working, right? So I'm not going to do that thing. So here you can see the uh, actually I was installing Mova Extreme, but it was not getting downloaded before 3 p.m. So I have to use again this SSH putty. Actually, this is very difficult to understand from here. So this one is about 7 minutes ago, and here you can see Nginx deployment, right? Means this is the container that is running under Nginx deployment pod. Okay, so if I go to over here, and here you can see 5754944D6C. Okay, and here you can see. So this is actually why I am showing these things. You will think like, what is the purpose of this thing? Okay, but the why I am showing it, because while troubleshooting means, we the pod is running, but sometimes your application is not reachable. So in that case, you have to see like the container of that pod is running or not. Okay, so here you can see the status. That's why we need at least essential knowledge of Docker as well, right? So now you can, it's a little bit more than beginner, because no, you know it is for actually troubleshooting parts. Okay, so don't confuse why I am showing these things. Just I want to show you how you can uh, what's called back. Actually, I forgot that word. Backtracing. Okay, backtracing. Like I just know the deployment. Okay, so how I will figure out my container, because container is the last one. Okay, you have a deployment. In deployment, there are multiple pods. Then pods have the containers. So you have to go and backtrace your containers. So how you will do that? So this is the main thing that you have to remember, that this is same for everyone. So this part is your deployment name. Okay, this is for pod, and this one is the difference. If there are multiple pods in the same deployment, then this string will be different. And here you can see 28kpc. See this 2k 28kpc. Okay, so here if you come 2k 28kpc, so this container actually running under that one. Okay, and there is one more over here, but I'm not sure. So this is the container ID, and this is the different command that is running /pause. Okay, and what you should know, so whatever we are looking for is this one, nginx, that has the nginx image. Okay, so this is how you are going to backtrace your containers. Or this is the 7bb7, and here you can see this one. Okay, so let's go to the master, and again,
It, I have a
yes,
concern. Like,
okay.
as
Mhm.
you said, deployment. I mean, under the deployment, we have pods, and within the pods, I mean, we have the
Containers,
down the line, we have the containers. Now, the
yes.
thing is, like, is the deployment is limited within the nodes, or it vary? I mean, it is. I mean, we can. I mean, our deployment, which has multiple pods, those pods run under a single node, or it can be, or it can extend up
No,
to
those
multiple.
those pods will be deployed to any node on in your cluster. Okay, so that is not like we haven't defined anything like that. But yes, you can, like if you want to run some deployment on only the node or node that has a label prod. Okay, so
Okay,
actually we can also label the nodes as well. Okay, in a cluster. So that you have to define in the deployment, that this deployment should only run on this, the nodes that has the this label, like prod or dev something. Okay, but if you
so
haven't
if you
mentioned
don't do
anything,
that, yeah, go ahead, sir.
sorry, so
Yes,
if you
Radhi.
don't mention anything, it can be run on any node. Okay,
Okay, that
it will be
has to
distributed.
be decided by the master.
Yes, that will be decided by your, actually, that queue scheduler, right? That is the
Okay,
component that is responsible for uh, whenever you are creating a new deployment, it will check on which is the best suited node for this pod. Okay, and then it will
okay,
start that pod on that node. So the
uh,
what is the control plane component? That is cube scheduler. Okay,
okay. Thank you.
yeah. So okay, so we have the deployment. The second one is we need a service to access it, right? Till now, we are not able to access the Nginx. So if I do curl localhost port 80, okay, failed to connect. Now what we will do is we will create a service, and remember these are the actually the um, main questions of interview. Okay, in interview they are going to ask the control plane components that we have discussed in the last session, and I think in the first session. Okay, and they are not going to ask about the installation, but yes, for service is mandatory. You should know what kinds of service is available in Kubernetes. Okay, so today right now we are going to create a type of node port, and that I will show you. So let's go to create a file again. So I will say nginx service.yaml, and again I am not going to type because there, it will take more time. Oops. Okay, so here we can see API version is v1. Now kind is service. Okay, it is not deployment, it is a service now. So I have to give two spaces, and then whatever, this is the metadata, and when I give a two space, it means whatever I will write after this two spaces, that will under the metadata. Okay, so I have just given the name, and second one is spec. So spec is what type of service I need. So here you can see I have type node port, but this is not the one. There is external IP, cluster IP, and target node. So that thing, those things we will run in the networking part. Okay. So just for your knowledge, I am means to expose the deployment. I have to show you the service. Otherwise, we will learn more about this service in the next coming session. So here you can see somewhere there is a hyphen or a dash before the key, right? So what does it mean? Actually, whenever you will see this dash, it means after this is a list. So to know what is the list, we should learn about YAML. But list is, like a, we can create multiple list, means nested list, list under list. So you know about the array, right? So in the same way in Python we have list, and YAML also we have list. So whatever in under that, it is going on in a list, not as a key value pair. It is a list. So this is the main key, and these are in the list. So protocol has TCP port is 80, target port is also 80, but node port, this is the port that is going to expose on the host, right? So we have to browse this port to access our pods. Okay, and here come the selector, right? So this service, where it should apply, okay, on which objects this service should apply, this is the question. Because we haven't mentioned anything else, like our deployment or something. So uh, how it will understand like this service for which object this service is for. Okay, so for that we have this selector. So whatever the pods have this selector app colon nginx, those pods will going to expose using this service. Okay, or let's say deployment. Okay, mostly deployment, because you are not going to create a single pod. Okay, so here let's say it's a selector of deployment. So which deployment it should expose is going to selected by this selector app colon nginx. So if I change it like nginx1 or something, then you are not able to access your nginx pod. So we will do it and let's see it's working fine or not. So for now, just I have created a service and create a service. So before creating it, I will show you if there is any service already present. So you can see there is only one service that has type cluster IP. Okay, and this is the IP of the cluster. So this is for the nodes communication. So how the nodes, the worker nodes and master, how they will going to communicate to each other. So there is no external IP right now. So now if I apply and again, okay, so let's apply this and then I will talk something. So kubectl command is create hyphen app. So whatever you want to do, you have to write in a YAML. So for kubectl is only to create that thing. Okay, whatever object is there inside the YAML file. So kubectl create hyphen f nginx and then service. So node port nginx node port is created. So this is the name of the service nginx node port. And if we now get service, here you can see. So the IP, this is the IP, okay, that is virtual IP, means this service is a virtual thing. Okay, so this is the virtual IP that is assigned. Okay, there is nothing. There is no a NIC card that has this IP. Actually, this is the virtual IP. Okay, so when you want to connect to your nginx, you are going to connect to this IP. Okay, so and here you can see it is opened on port 3000 30080. So let's try. If I'm not wrong, I'm not sure right now. So now you can see I am able to access this on port 30080. Okay, 30080. So this is how we are going to expose the deployment. Okay, so it is working with the selector. So what I will do, I will delete this service. Okay, and then we will edit the service.yml nginx service.yml and change the selector, and then let's say if we are able to access it or not. Okay, so any question till now?
No, sir.
What happened? Okay, coming back. kubectl delete, before that git service once again, and then kubectl delete svc, and I want to delete this svc. Okay, deleted. Now go to nginx service and just change this to nginx1, and now apply one again once again. So deleted kubectl get service. So now it has a new IP, and now if I do localhost You can see I'm not able to do it, right?
Hello.
I will now deployment instead of the service. I'm going to change it in the deployment so it will confirm, right? So I'm going to edit this. So this time I have not deleted any pod, or we are not going to create a new one, but we are just editing the deployment so we can apply actually. Okay, so I will just change it to in the next one. Okay, and now what I will do, I will use kubectl apply hyphen f in the next deploy. kubectl apply should be used on resource created by other kubectl create. Okay, so here is the issue. We cannot apply. So what if I now do kubectl create? So what do you think? What will happen? Means I have not deleted the pods. Okay, so you can see pods are running. Okay, now I will just create hyphen f. The deployment is invalid. Spec.template.metadata labels invalid value. Selector does not match template labels. So can you troubleshoot this? This is very easy. You can easily understand with the error. So first read the error, and I will open the this nginx deploy.yaml and let me know where I should change it. So you have read the error.
Yes, Arunji.
So where should I change? Once again, I am just going out of it and let. So here you can see this is the error is saying selector does not match
Template
template
labels.
labels, right? So why I do this type of mistakes means
Yes, Bhagat, it is like
so
level
here,
in the app name is Nginx one, and within the
yes,
label you have mentioned Nginx. That is the
yes.
difference.
So template label and this selector, this should match. Okay, you
Yes,
should have, you must mention the same name that you have given to the match labels. Okay, so now let's go and create. So I cannot create a new uh, deployment with the same that is already exist. Okay, so we have a command that is kubectl edit deployment. Okay, so we are going to use that one. Deployment name is nginx deployment, whatever. Nginx Okay, so here it is going to do it in the runtime. Okay, so what I will do is, like, I will clear my screen, and I will show you the pods that is already running. So okay, and now I will edit the deployment. Okay, and what I will do here, you can see we have just mentioned the metadata, but the annotation is come automatically. Generation is one, the name is one, namespaces is here. You can see the namespaces is default. Okay, you can change it. So I think namespaces, and it should be namespace. Okay, I will show you, no problem. So it's specs, under specs we have app nginx. So I will change it to nginx 1, and strategy, rolling update, maximum search, and these are the default one. But remember, these things you can change. Okay, and type is rolling update. So what is these rolling updates and those things I will discuss, but not in this session because it will become longer. So here under template I have to change it to the one as well. Okay, now if I just do wq save, it is edited. Okay, and now if I do, you can see four pods. So these two pods are just created. Okay, and now again if I do pods, what will happen once it is created? It will terminate the old one. Okay, so
So
here,
Sarabjit, if we
yes,
stop a deployment, so it will in turn stop the pod and it will stop the container.
yes.
Okay. So in
So
case
it is
the
not
pod
going to do it in immediately. Yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead.
In case the container is serving some vital things, like in case the container is already into some activity or something vital
Hmm.
is running within the container, so
Hmm.
that will have an impact on the services, right?
Yeah, so that is the thing. Means it is not going to, just terminate the pods or containers immediately. Okay, it will check everything. Okay, then it will. You can see now it's a 91 second, but still the old containers are still running. Means
Okay.
old pods, right? Means it is not terminated it. So it will take some time, but once it will think, means uh, here the Kubernetes, actually this is the benefit of Kubernetes. Means I haven't mentioned like it should check or not. Okay, it will understand itself, like how much. Means those things are actually designed by the Kubernetes developers, but yes, those are already integrated in the Kubernetes. So it will check everything, like the container has this something or not, if there is running any uh, job or something is running on the container. So it is not going to just go ahead and just delete it. Okay, it will check
in case,
the things.
in case some jobs are running within the container, as I said,
Mhm.
some vital activities going on through the
Mhm.
container. So I guess Kubernetes has the ability to create the replicas.
Yes, it will first create a new one, and then it will check whatever, like, how the question is how it is going to understand that the container has some vital things are
Yes, yes.
running on that one or not. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so actually it
That is what I want to
depends
know.
depends with the connections. Okay, is there any live connection, something running? Because without any connection there is no, right? If that is a stone standalone, then there should not be any issue. The issue when it comes to, is there any live connection is running with the DB or something, then only it has the issue. And remember one thing, till now, or we are just uh, moving workload, the web application workload to the containers. Okay, we are still have some issue with the db and something. Okay, not everyone is going to move the dvs to the um, kubernetes. Okay, so if you think about the web application, you can understand that web application, that those have only the web interface and the live session, the user session, that's it. Okay,
Yes.
so it will just remove that session from that pod, and it will connect to the next one. Okay, that is just created.
Okay. So the things like the high availability and all will happen in case of databases.
Yeah, we haven't means for those you have to go through the what is the role updates and how you are going to update your applications. Okay, here just to demonstrate you the
Okay.
things,
Okay.
like we can update the deployment. I have just go ahead and do it, did it right. But in real scenario you are not going to do it. You have to
Uh-huh.
check everything. Okay, then you are going to update it, right?
Okay.
So here
Okay.
I'm showing you how to update, but yes, you have to remember those things. Like if there is something, the vital is running, if there is a running of db server in that those pods, so you are not just going to go ahead and just edit the deployment. Okay, it is not like that. You have to consider it. If something goes wrong, what is the rollback process. Okay, so you have to consider those things. And one more thing, these YAML files are mostly on the Git repository. Okay, so you are not going to change it regularly. It depends. You have to, because it is going to record. It is getting recorded on Gits. Okay, so before doing any changes, you should be confident. Like yes, what I am changing is what is the impact of this change. So you should have that knowledge, then only you are going to change it. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm not sure, like these pods are still running, but it should not be. I will check it for why there are 4 pods. So actually it has a new id over here, but when I have tested it, it deleted the old one. So but it doesn't take this much of time. Here replica is only 2. Okay. API version is changed. It extension slash v1 beta 1. Okay, let's do one thing. First, let's check the we are able to access our Nginx server or not. Okay, then we will check what is happening over here. So 3000, 30,080. Okay, so now you can see again we are able to access the Nginx pod, right? So now I hope you have understood the concept of selector, right? So let
Yes.
me
Yes.
open
Yes.
that deployment file once again. So here match labels. So these things, you have to remember, like how to give the selector. So under selector we have to write match labels, and this is the label. App has an nginx one, and this label should must match with this template label. Okay, then only it will work, otherwise not. So this is the whole thing. API primitives and service and network primitives. Okay, so that's it from my side for today. And in the next session, we will start rolling out and how to roll out the updates and how to roll back the updates. Okay, and I will show you the namespace part as well. So here, I'm not sure it should remove the old ports, but
Sarabjit, I have one
yes,
question.
yeah,
Yeah, and now, right now, these pods are single containers. That means one pod
yes,
is one container, isn't it?
yes. So
And one
you can
and
see it
one.
from here.
Yeah, yeah. Now, is this statement right that one pod may have multiple containers of the same
Yes.
type?
No, that is not true. Means a pod has multiple containers,
Or
but
same or different
it is
also?
not mandatory to those containers have the same. Okay,
Okay.
it should have more other means different containers, because you just assume means you have the same containers, multiple containers in a
Hmm.
pod. There is no meaning. Instead, you should have multiple pods with the same container, right? So here, when you are creating deployment or you have mentioned two replica, it means this the Kubernetes is going to create two pods, okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
and both pods have the same containers or image that you have mentioned that is running in the pod, okay.
Okay.
So it has the same pod that Nginx 1 point something, and it has also the same container. And yes, if you want, you can here you can mention multiple containers, okay. So I can here go ahead and I will just create again one more container like hyphen name, okay,
Okay.
and let's say vg box, and I will use image vg box, and I'm not going to open any code, so just remove it. And before that, let me change the deployment as well, because if I apply it, it will give an error. So let's make it 2,
Hmm.
and there is no need to change the file because it not going to do anything with the file name. Okay, so view kubectl,
Create.
you can use apply as well.
Okay.
Okay, now you can say,
Hmm.
now if I go kubectl get pods,
So,
see here, 1 out of 2 means one is running, second one is still preparing, or crash loop back. So this is the status actually. So you can see here crash loop back off. So it means the second pod is not properly configured. Second container is not properly configured. So it is starting the pods one again and again. So it has
okay.
restarted 2 times.
Because it is a busy box. It doesn't run, right? It got exit.
Yeah, you got it right. You got it right. Yes. So what we are going to do here? We are going to just update it once again. Yeah, you saved my time. I was just thinking about what is the issue. So just we can give the arguments like we have done in the earliest, like giving the command on the container with the container when we run the container, right? Like at the end we give any uh,
Yeah, restart.
arguments or comments. Yeah. So what I will do, I will again, the issue is like, okay, let's try argument, and I have to give two spaces, and it should be in a list. So these things you have to remember like sleep, and for how long I want to sleep it for the 1 hour. That's it. So now if I do, you can see here this word conf configured, right? And if I just scroll over here, oops, where I have created that one, I just clear the screen. Okay, how? Here. So here you can see created,
Yeah,
but here you can see configured.
configured. Yes.
So this is the use of this apply. If you are uh, using create, okay, you cannot use this apply. You have to use kubectl edit and edit the deployment. But if you have used kubectl apply, then you can go ahead and change the deployment file. And once again, if you use kubectl apply, then it will just do the same thing that we have just used with the edit command. Okay, so here it will just reconfigure the deployment. It is not going, it haven't given any error like the deployment name is same, right?
And will it
Already
delete
exists
the previous one?
because it is reconfigured. Okay.
Hello, Sarabjit.
And yes.
Yeah, we did the apply. So will it
Yes.
delete the previous work deployment?
So yes, actually here you can see now the pods that was going to the crash loop. Okay,
790.
those are removed. Okay, so
Yeah,
here,
yeah. Uh-huh.
so actually it has created a new deployment with the same name. Okay,
Okay.
so this is changed, and the old one. So actually I have used this in this manner. Means when I was uh, practicing earlier, so I have used this apply. So now we have a conclusion that if we use the kubectl edit deployment, then the old pods that is running, that will, there is no effect with the old
Effect.
one. Okay,
Yeah.
it will just create a new one. Okay, but if you are using apply, you have created any deployment or any service using apply, then you just go ahead and edit your yaml file, and again if you use the apply, then it will reconfigure the deployment, and whatever the deployment or something was doing earlier, it will just change it, or it will remove the old one and create a new one. So from here you can see this last string that is changed, and this one is also changed. So it means it has created a new deployment with the same name. So that's why it is second time it's saying configured instead of created. Okay, so now I hope so. Here, actually, we are talking about this one, right? So now this pod has running two containers, and both containers are up and running. Okay, but here you can see one is running, but another one was going to crash loop because that container is just uh, starting, and then it is a busy box, so it just restarted. Means this is done by the daemon because the container is stopped, then daemon try to restart it, and it has restarted the daemon the container two times. Okay,
Okay.
and it is going into the loop actually. Okay, so now I hope you got the answer of this
Sarojit,
container
uh,
part. So
Sarojit,
yes.
I just wanted to ask, in the previous deployment of Nginx, uh, we had
Uh-huh.
one deployment of many deployments of Nginx. Okay, so these, and in this architecture we have one master and two worker, two C and three C are
Yes.
worker. Okay, so
Yes.
these pods may be randomly deployed on any one of the worker, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Right.
And not on the master.
No. No. So if I do hyphen o void, you can see there is no pod that is running on 1C. Okay, so you can see
Uh,
3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So just the control plane components pod, those pods are run on the master node.
master node, yes.
Okay, other pods that you create, it is not going to run on the master. That the queue scheduler is going to schedule it on any node that is, that means Kubernetes thinks like it is best suited node for this pod. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So any question now, or just we can wrap up now?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. Okay.
We
Thank you
can
very
we can wrap up.
Okay. Okay, bye bye, we'll
Okay then.
meet in the
Bye.
next session.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Bye. See you.